of it, from what the media were being told and what was being reported, was you trying to bend the rules of getting in to play an Australian Open without having taken the COVID vaccine. And I was actually quite censorious about a lot of people at the time. And I've since apologized to some people for being too tough on them, because once it became clear that if you had the vaccine, it made no difference to whether you could then transmit the virus, clearly, at that point for me, it becomes a personal choice. If the potential danger is irrelevant compared to whether you have the jab or not. And so I have, on that basis, said, look, I believe the vaccines were important. I think they saved a lot of lives. I had lots of people in my life at the time who were going through a terrible time with COVID. One of my co-workers on the morning show I was doing, her husband was in a coma from COVID. He sadly died. A friend of mine said goodbye to her mother on FaceTime, who was in a care home and died from COVID, and so on. I knew lots of people. So it felt quite personal. It felt quite visceral to me. But I was too censorious. And when more information emerged about your situation, the fact you'd had COVID several weeks before you went to Australia, the fact that you hadn't actually done anything wrong on the form filling, the fact that in the end it became a political decision to throw you out based on likely public anger if they didn't take action. When I look back on that and reflect on that, I would like to say I'm sorry for the intemperate language I used against you, because I didn't know you. I took what I was reading and hearing at face value. It turned out to be more complicated. And yeah, I'm sorry for over-egging the rhetorical souffle.
I appreciate that very
Let me
much.
get it off
Your
my
honesty, thank you so much. It was difficult times, and you know, state of emergency globally. I understand. You know, we've been through hell globally, all of us on this planet. And you know, the only thing I would add, not to really dig deeper into this whole situation on the COVID and vaccination, is that I was never a proponent of anti-vax or pro-vax. I was always freedom of choice. So, and that was misinterpreted. You know, I was proclaimed to be, you know, one side or the other side or so forth. It's either black or white. And I said, you know, it doesn't need to be that way. As an athlete, as someone that, you know, takes care of the integrity of the body and understanding of obviously doing my research and understanding that I'm not a threat to anybody and I don't need to do it myself. And I've been through 2 or 3 times I had COVID in like a year and a half. So I had all the antibodies, etc. So anyway, long story short, good to see you here. Good to finally meet you, and I appreciate and I respect the fact that you know what you said. It speaks volumes about the person that you are.
I'm going to start.
Bah, franchement, c'est assez rare pour le souligner qu'un journaliste s'excuse. Et ce qui est marrant, c'est que tous ces gugus-là, qui n'ont pas l'air en si bonne santé que ça, ils vont aller pointer du doigt l'un des mecs les plus sains au monde, tu sais, qui prend soin de sa santé, sportif, qui mange bien, tu vois, qui a une bonne immunité, d'aller le faire chier. Parce
qu'il vient de gagner encore un tournoi. Hein,
il a gagné encore
un tournoi en Italie, je crois.
Il
vient de gagner un tournoi.
C'est le GOAT. Non, mais tu vois, et tous ces gugus de plateau, tu sais, qui ont tous, voilà, qui ont fait du sport la dernière fois au lycée et qui viennent faire la leçon à ce gars-là. Ouais, c'était vraiment risible. Mais c'est bien qu'il ait pu admettre ses erreurs.
C'est ce que j'apprécie dans cette séquence, que d'un côté, il y a l'humilité du journaliste qui reconnaît son erreur, qu'il a été trop loin, et de l'autre, la grandeur d'âme de
ouais.
Bon, bien sûr, on sent qu'il est content quand même.
Il aurait pu.
Normal, quand on s'est fait chier à la